I think they were all that way when we came in. The cleaning lady must have.
For all the talking you're gonna do.
Okay,
You got a public hearing you gotta read, you
I
gotta
know. Right.
finish your conversation with Janine.
I'm ready.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of Monday, February 13th, 2023 to order. I ask all who have not signed in, please do so. Please turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices, and please conduct any private conversations in the hallway or outside. This meeting is equipped with the inductive loop hearing assistance system. You will be able to hear conversations through the microphone on hearing aids with a T switch. Marcia, thank you for that as well, for a reminder for that. So, emergency exit can be found on to your right and to your left. And at this time, if you please join the town board in a salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting is also live streamed via YouTube with text commenting available to the public. A couple brief announcements. All town operations will be closed next Monday for President's Day.
God
Bless you. And a reminder under the public comment portion of this evening's agenda and all town board agendas, we ask that comments be limited to 3 minutes. That's all I have. At this point, we'll turn it over to our town clerk, and she's going to read the public hearing notice.
Notice of public hearing, proposed local law to amend Chapter 211 zoning to create a cannabis retail dispensary overlay zoning district, scheduled for the 13th day of February 2023 at 7 p.m. in the Victor Town Hall, was published and posted in the Daily Messenger newspaper on January 27th, and a copy also posted on the signboard of the Town Hall, the Victor Village Hall, and our website. Also noted, this public hearing was rescheduled from the January 23rd Town Board meeting. The Town Board to act as lead agency relating to the adoption of the cannabis local law was Resolution Number 314, adopted at the December 12th, 2022 Town Board meeting.
Thank you, Karen. A couple things real quick. There is, I think on the back table, might be some, there's a cannabis map on the table, if you'd care to look at that. And that's essentially why it was canceled or tabled at our last meeting, and we chose to notice this because we wanted some revisions made to the zone map and also some language on page 2 of the local law regarding contiguous parcels. So at this time, does any members of the public care to speak for or against this local law? Well, Lee, welcome back.
Hi, Lee Wager, Beauchamp Way. I'll make it really quick. I am not for this. I feel that if there's one in the village, we don't need two. I mean, I'm not for it anyway, but I realize I'm probably in a minority. And will the funds, the tax dollars, be specified for any particular use if you get them?
Again, what we have discussed informally here is to rededicate any funds that would come our way to public safety here in the town.
Okay, all right. So just for the record, if we got the village, we don't need to. Okay, thank you.
Any other members of the public care to speak for or against this local law? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Dave Nankin from Chaucer Court, And I would like to add my vote to as opposed to the dispensaries. I think there are a number of reasons for not. Number one reason is I think that Victor is in a rather unique situation in regards to the thruway. It's very easy to get off the thruway to buy something that you might need. And one of those things they would buy would be the cannabis. And you can buy that, and especially if, let's say you're doing a long haul, a truck driver's coming through, he comes off, he gets a little bit of cannabis, and he goes back on the thruway. It takes only a few minutes. And chances are, maybe like a child, you give him a box of candy or something and expect him to not nibble a little bit. And perhaps this could be a problem if they do, want to indulge while driving. And there have been, many instances where it impairs your ability to drive, just like alcohol would and such. And like I said, I've been up and down the thruway many times, and I think that Victor, if you go through with this, there should be a distance from the thruway. If it's Victor or any place along the thruway, I think it should be 5, maybe 10 miles dispensary from the thruway to sort of keep it local, but yet not allow for people to coming through and participate. Also, I just listened to a report not too many months ago in Colorado. I believe they said half of the dispensaries have been closed that were open in Colorado because you're able to purchase the cannabis at a lower price than the black market than you can from a dispensary. If that's so or not, I know, but it was on public television. And this is one other thing to bring up is this is considered, I guess, recreational marijuana. And I ask you, what is recreational about it? Is smoking a cigarette recreational? I can think of 1,000 things that are recreational, but smoking marijuana just to relax is not recreational. It's relaxation, and maybe it's an escapism. And I just think that marijuana presents more of a hazard than it does a benefit, I believe. I can understand perhaps if it's medical marijuana that might have some benefit maybe, but I don't see it, recreational marijuana, as having any redeeming properties. And I thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other members of the public care to speak for or against?
Hello, my name is Leah Theodoratos. I'm from Cheshire Ridge. And, I read that this dispensary is going to come, and I'm going to admit I don't know too much about it. But to echo what the two other individuals said, we all know it's not a good, there are a lot of health detriments to marijuana. And I was in the military for 33 years, and there was a reason that military members could not take marijuana, and if you did, you were pretty much out, because it was contrary to good order and discipline. And I also moved up here less than a couple of years ago from Westchester County. I grew up in New York City, and I left that area to come here for better quality of life. And I've seen that where there's marijuana and other drugs, whether it's I know that this would be legal. The state passed the law, which I didn't agree with, but that's beside the point. But it deters the quality of life. And that was one reason I came up here. And I think all of us here and people who've lived here all their life, they want to keep a good quality of life. Because with marijuana, I don't want to use the word drug activity because that encompasses other things as well, but we'll stick with the marijuana now. You can get some incidents of crime. You know, that has been known that marijuana has caused crime. And the bigger thing is because here, everybody has to drive, so people are not using public transportation like in other areas. So people who use marijuana, they are impaired. And so that's something to consider. And I did hear that at some of these areas, and maybe it was Colorado, I don't remember, that there have been larger incidents of vehicle accidents. So that's maybe something to consider. And like the first lady said, you know, if we have one, do we need to have a second one? So that's just, you know, I agree that, you know, we probably shouldn't have a second one and maybe think of other things to have to increase the tax base here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other members of the public care to speak for or against? Entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Kohovic first.
Drew and then Dave. Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving to this evening's business, approval of meeting minutes. This would be the January 23rd meeting. Any,
So moved.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
And manifest number 3, we'll ask our clerk to please introduce that and ask Susie to put that up on the screen for the public.
The Victortown Board has reviewed manifest number 3 in the amount of $2,309,182.88 with the following accounts charged: general townwide, general outside village, highway townwide. The lighting districts of Fishers, Brookwood Meadows, High Point, Cobblestone, Coyle Ridge, Rolling Meadows, Stone Lay, and Legacy at the Fairways, S&S Consolidated Sewer Fund, and Trust and Agency.
Thank you, Karen. And then, as you sit there and wondering, how's the town spending $2.3 million? So we're going to give you the justification. Next meeting, it'll be in the few million as well, because one of the items we're going to talk about tonight will take place next meeting, when is the collection of the Fishers Fire tax money that we in turn, it's a bit of a pass-through, and we'll collect it and send it to them. So our first payment is to American Rock Salt. Certainly, we know it's the time of year, road salt for the winter. Payment to, next is CDW Government, Computer Hardware, Guardian Insurance for dental. Harris Beach, our attorney, there are chargebacks within that bill for $14,354. Then the cost of the town is $8,142.50. Next is Integrated System for the hosting of our and professional services for 2023. Next, Labella Associates, there are chargebacks to developers on this bill as well. And total cost of the town is $50,374.55. Next is payment to MVP, February Healthcare. Payment to Northern Supplies. These are road signs, plow bolts, other miscellaneous items for the Highway Department. Next is payment to NOCO Energy, diesel fuel for our plow trucks. Payment to Ontario County Treasurer. This is, again, pilot funds that are paid to the town. We disperse them to the county. Next one is payment to the Sheriff's Department for the Sheriff Patrol and Court Security. Next is another payment to the county treasurer for dog control for our 2023 contract. Payment to RG&E. Payment to Springbrook Software. KVS Support, which is our financial department software. Payment to Tracy Road Equipment for a 2023 Freightliner plow truck. And then again, taxes collected are now paid to the Victor Fire District. And as I said, next meeting, it'll probably be the Fishers Fire District payment as well. Next is Victor Sewer District. These are 2022 delinquent taxes that are re-levied. Payment to Victor Central School for, again, the 2023 CERMAR pilot funds, and then payment to the Village of Victor for the same. So the total of the above-mentioned expenditures is $2,220,142.98. Total town expenditures minus the previous mentioned expenditures equals $89,039.90. Board members, any question on abstract number 3?
So moved.
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Payment of bills successful. Moving to privilege of the floor. This evening, we have Morel Builders and Pride Mark Homes. Peter Vars will be presenting, and this is in regards to 7200 Rawson Road. Request is for a PDD.
So, good evening. My name is Peter Vars with BME Associates. With me this evening is Bill Areno from Morel Builders, and next to him to the right is Jim Barbado from Pride Mark Homes. As you mentioned, we are, we are here this evening on their behalf because we want to discuss with the town board what they hope will be a forthcoming application to the town board to reinstate or rezone 7200 Rawson Road to a planned development district. The property is about 22.5 acres in size. It's located on the north side of Rawson Road, just outside of the village limits. The east boundary line is the municipal boundary. We're across the street from Wellington Road and Burlington Road, basically the Drumlins neighborhood. Little background on this property. The 22.5 acres was rezoned to a planned development district per local law number 1 of 2015. It was filed on January 22nd of 2015. There's actually a section of the town code still reserved for that PDD, section 211-27-9. That PDD was approved for the 22.5 acres, and it consisted of a 3.97 acre parcel, which is the far eastern side or the far right side of the rendering up on our screen. It contains a 1.5 story industrial building of about 56,000 square feet. That building is there today. The remaining lands to the west, which would be 18.5 acres, was, as part of the PDD approved in 2015, would include residential development. It was approved for 48 detached single-family lots. As I mentioned, the industrial building is there. However, the residential development did not proceed, and as a result, the PDD that zoning sunset, and thus the property reverted back to its LI light industrial zoning. So what Morel Builders and Pride Mark Homes are hoping to do is to obtain the property and develop the 18.5 acres as a residential development with a mix of residential uses. The proposal that is before you is reflective of the 2023 real estate market. The proposal at the far western end, or the left-hand side, calls for 8 single-family homes on lots that would average about 16,000 square feet. They would be 70-foot wide lots. And then the center portion of the property would consist of 63 for-sale townhomes that would be a mix of 3-unit, 4-unit, and 5-unit blocks. The footprints of those townhouses would be 30 feet by 55 feet, or just over 1,600 square feet. The proposed residential use on this property is appropriate for all the same reasons that it was back in 2014, 2015, when the property at that time was rezoned to a planned development district. It's the property's proximity to the village, its compatibility with the surrounding land use, as you can see here on the aerial photo, that on the south side of Rawson Road, there's the almost replication of what we're proposing. It's a mix of multifamily and detached single-family residential units. Pedestrian mobility is important. The Auburn Trail is basically the north boundary of this property and provides pedestrian access into the village, and it represents infill development and the use of existing infrastructure. This is reinforced again in 2023, today. As we mentioned, part of the reason they've proposed a townhouse and a detached single-family component is to address different types of the residential market. And Bill and Jim will discuss that briefly here in a few moments for you. But also, this is checks a lot of boxes in the 2015 comprehensive plan, which was adopted after the previous PDD. Specifically, if you go to section 8.8 of the future land use, they talk about higher density residential infill and redevelopment. And that is what this represents. It's taking an infill parcel, taking into account its proximity to its surroundings and the benefits it provides, and then redeveloping it to meet the current residential market needs. So the need for the housing and proximity to the village and the appropriateness of the residential use on this parcel remain as it did for the purpose of it to occur back in 2015. It basically, we think it made sense in 2015 to rezone this to a PDD, and we believe it still does today. So Jim and Bill are going to talk briefly about the types of units, but then we entertain any questions with the, our goal is it is our intent that we would hopefully get positive feedback on this so that we could proceed with the formal rezoning application to reinstate the PDD. So I'm going to let Jim and Bill talk here for a second.
Good evening, Bill Areno with Morel Builders, and thank you, Town Board, for your time this evening. So I just had some examples of the type of product that we'd love to build into this Victor community. And this first one, actually, the general idea is, with the size of this neighborhood, is to get a mixture of single-family homes up to the furthest western portion of the property. And I've got an example of a property or a home that we're building currently in Honeoye Falls. It's a brand-new community called Wolfsburger Park. And we spent about 18 months designing this colonial because, as you know, the inflationary pressures the builders are facing right now are creating a situation where it's being much more difficult, almost impossible, for first-time home buyers and even move-up buyers to find new construction as an option. So when we designed this home, we took into consideration efficiencies. So the footprint of the home is a little smaller than what you traditionally have in a colonial where it's quite rectangular. This is stacked, and the footprint, the basement's a little smaller, and everything stacks on top. We've gone even into the garage, so we give an option for a bonus room space there, which we've used in the past, but typically it's more rectangular, still with a huge footprint. And this home here is 2,150 square feet. It also gives an option once the bonus room's on at 2,300 square feet. And we came out with a new design with a den on the first floor at about 2,450 square feet. The first floor is about just under 900 square feet, or just around 900 square feet. And it's been very well accepted. I've just built it as a model out there. It allows us to, on those single-family homes, bring the single-family home in a $400,000 price range. I know that sounds like a very large number. It is, but I'm also in the existing market as well, and everyone here has seen existing homes resell in the $250,000, $300,000 on a 40-year-old existing home. So what we're trying to do is bring that in at an affordable price, and we can do that, I think, on those single-family lots. And then this over here, these are the townhomes that we are proposing, and we're trying to drive the same thought process. We spent 18 months designing that single family, and we've spent quite some time designing the townhomes. It's a little different design, again, a little less square footage on the first floor opposed to like what we're building at Piper Meadows at 2,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet on the first floor. This is kind of a 1.5 story. That's a beautiful front elevation. So the way we've done this is you've got a master bedroom on the first floor and then 2 bedrooms up. We pushed the 2 bedrooms to the back so it's not as imposing because if you put 4 of them in a row, it's going to get real heavy. And this design, again, allows us to be a little bit more efficient, a little bit more affordable. I think, Jim, we're hoping to bring this in the $350,000 price range. What this one does is it caters to both an empty nester customer that wants something, maybe they got the big Colonial right now in Victor and they want to move down to something that's still relatively affordable on a new product, with a master bedroom on first floor and 2 bedrooms up, essentially a Cape Cod. It also fits the niche for someone that is a first-time home buyer or potentially a move-up buyer, most likely a first-time home buyer, and they want to get something brand new opposed to buying something existing. So the townhomes, they would have a homeowners association, as Peter mentioned. Anything else, Jim, that I?
No, you covered it. They have a basement, or are they on a slab?
They would have a full basement, yes, both the single-family and the townhomes. Right, Jim? We're pretty, yeah, yeah.
Board members, I had met with Bill, Jim, Peter, and Scott previously with Wes Petty and Kim Kinsella, and I think Keith and Lisa from our team. This parcel, I know, is a parcel that board members, we've entertained for some time, as well as a possible highway facility, and we couldn't come in an agreement with the owner of the property. This land is under contract by Pridemark and Morels, so they certainly are focused on moving forward. Previously, and when we converted back to the current zoning, we had a sunset clause that certainly followed up, so if there's a appetite for the board to move forward, we probably would request this very same thing again. So I don't think, looking at my notes, if I have anything else, I think it's all been covered. Still, I guess the only thing still up in the air, town dedicated road, or is that something you're ready to commit to, Jim, at this point? Not that it's a...
We would like to have town dedicated road on the townhouse portion. We do that in many of my other projects, and part of the logic is that with the number of taxpayers on that road, it's hard to put the burden on them as far as them to maintain the road from a maintenance of the road itself, and then also the plowing, that the town just has better facilities for plowing roads than private contractors.
Okay, thank
That
you.
butt at the end is just a turnaround then, basically, what that's for?
Yes.
Board members, at this time, if you have any questions for the team here before you?
Supervisor, I have maybe just a few comments. I think, certainly this evening is the first time I'm seeing this, so I think that I would agree that it does fit the characteristics of the neighborhood and the residential densities that are currently existing on the south side of that road. So I personally, I don't see a major conflict with this. I think they're compatible communities. I certainly would be interested in hearing other opinions on that, whether it's from the board or the community, but nothing jumps out at me initially. The only 2 comments I had in looking at this from a cursory perspective was from the emergency services side, that the dead end is not ideal. I don't like seeing that personally, because that's just the industry I come from. And certainly for emergency vehicle access, it oftentimes presents some additional challenges. We have those around town. We don't like them from that side, but that's something that I just wanted to comment on. And then this is, as Rawson Road is a roadway that I travel down daily almost myself. That turn coming from the Cork side coming down towards the village, as you come around this bend here, I know currently there's just kind of one driveway at an angle and a single-family home there, and from how I see it, especially in lousy weather, that's not the easiest curve to manage, and I could see some conflicts with that western departure point from the single-family home community there.
You're saying going up the hill?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
think as you're coming down the hill there,
Yeah.
Cars coming out, from seeing it just from an overhead map, that's a question I had. Is that going to be an issue from a safety and traffic management perspective? Other than that, those are the only 2 things I see at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments, thoughts?
Yeah, the original PDD had been for single-family homes, 48 in units total.
Yes.
Obviously, now you're talking 70-some-odd units, I think, in the aggregate, right?
71 total.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm a little
63A.
concerned with the density, which kind of ties in a little bit to what Councilman Cusimano was alluding to. The other question I had, and maybe it's just not depicted well here, but I really don't see any sidewalks.
We would look to have sidewalks on one side of the street.
Okay. I see that there's a sidewalk along Rawson Road, right?
Yes.
But not within the developments themselves, right? Is that what I'm seeing properly, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, just as a comment. And then the other thing that I might like to see would be somewhere in the side where you have the townhouses, actually a connection maybe into the Auburn Trail.
We like that too.
Yeah, okay. Those would be my comments.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments, board members? If there are none, some direction, I think, certainly is what the Primark Morels are looking for from us.
I had one thing regarding the density. So one of the real challenges, obviously, as Bill mentioned, is the pressure of cost and how it's challenging to be, we try to say affordable, and it almost feels wrong to say it at $350,000 and $400,000 from where we were a few years ago. But part of the density allows us to be efficient with the land use and the infrastructure. And obviously, you could take that same road network and take away 15 or 20%, and that's just another way of just driving up that cost for us. So we're trying to be efficient and use the infrastructure as best we can to try to continually drive that cost back down and pass that along at a better price point.
Thank you for explaining that, Jim.
And since I brought up the density question, my response to that is just, yes, I understand that. My concern is from number of vehicles on Rawson Road, the curve that's not too far off of the project, and just, both pedestrian and vehicular safety would be my concerns.
Sure.
And that's the reason why I brought
Understood.
it up.
Yeah, no. We're often accused of just packing them in, and there's a good reason for it, is what I was trying to say.
And I understand that, yeah, for sure.
So, as I stated, if there's no further comments and looking for direction, whether or not you would like then to proceed with a formal application for a PDD, I guess there's anyone in opposition.
So we would,
Change the zoning.
we would change the zoning, do the PDD, and then would the planning board still be the lead agency? When they go through all the approval process and all that, obviously,
I think that would be one of the steps. Wes? Yeah, where's that portable mic when you need it over there, huh?
So just to reiterate the PDD process, it's a two-step process, right? And there would be two separate distinguishable seeker reviews, right? So when you're talking about a lead agency, there would be a seeker component just related to the rezoning alone. And that's specified in the town's code, right? And the reason for that is because it allows the applicant to file that rezoning petition, right? And to go forward with the conceptual design of the site plan without having to do the major engineering cost, like, go through all of the grading, the utilities, the road layout, all that sort of thing. It allows them to go through the rezoning application process. But then if the town board decides, nope, we're not going to rezone the property, the developer hasn't spent all those engineering costs on the actual design. So the town board will be the seeker lead agency for the rezoning component, right? The map amendment. And then the town planning board would be likely the lead agency for the subdivision/site plan review. And that would be step two. So basically, the town board, if this is something, you'll get a concept sketch, maybe a little bit more refined than what you have here. And if the town board is pleased with that, you would adopt that as a preliminary development plan. And largely, that kind of sets the stage for the planning board to follow suit. And the design of the planning board application needs to be generally pretty consistent with what the town board adopts as a preliminary development plan. that make sense? Do you have any questions on that?
It does.
Yeah, so if what we would approve is just the change in the zoning, but whenever it comes to dedicated roads or site distances or entrances and stuff would be all in the second phase of it anyways, right? So
Yeah, there'd be plenty.
that's going to be in the site
Yeah.
plan, so that's really not,
Right. One of the things that the applicant will have to pay attention to is access management, right? We have these access management guidelines.
Right.
And they may want to take into consideration what those guidelines and requirements are as part of the rezoning component, right? While this may show a few different curb cuts onto Rawson Road, the town board may want to examine that closely as part of the rezoning project.
there was a minor traffic study done way back when we were doing it, and there was site distances on that curve and the things that were important, and
Yeah.
where that comes into play was just, my concern, but I'm sure they're going to address it when it comes to it, so.
Yep.
Before you leave.
Sure.
So Councilman Kohovic brought up the point about the density. Jim's response was based on, certainly the consideration for price points and the impact on that. So the proposed in this, again, it's not an application, but this presentation to this board, 71 residential units. If we move forward with the PDD, is it still under the jurisdiction of the planning board to have that flexibility on whether it continues to be 71, or by this town board moving forward, they're at 70?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and maybe we could work with Harris Beach on identifying those exact parameters, offline and come back to you. But I'm thinking that based on your rezoning consideration, you have the opportunity to set the maximum density as the town board, right? And then if for some reason there is a need to reduce the density based on, design, and if it's reasonable, the planning board is fine, not just for the sake of reducing density, but if for some reason there are some design parameters that limit the number of units, they may have to reduce those number of units.
I think Drew's point's really good. You're coming down that hill, it's hard to see on here exactly where that cut's gonna be, with those single-family homes coming down off the hill.
Yeah.
And how close that's gonna be as far as the site distance, and is it safe? And, obviously, I'm sure it probably is. I think this is a good use of the property, but I think the specifics of the density and what we lock ourselves into needs to be fine-tuned a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think the concept of what we're looking at is exactly, I think, what that use is.
I too, I think it's a good use of the property, and it blends with what's across the road from it, and
Thanks, Wes.
it's there's challenges with the elevations on the lot before you ever put, and there's where they filled it before with Route 96 debris, and there's a lot of things there that would have to, I'm sure with the planning board, we get to that point where that would have to be rectified anyways, but the concept of it is good for that lot.
Wes, thanks for coming up here to the podium. Well, gentlemen, it sounds like everyone likes the fit for that property, and I guess the next step is to go through the formal application process.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Moving next to public comments. Marcia.
Stay just a second. Could you stay just a second? Sure. Hi, I'm Marcia Sengus. I live up in the Drumlins and have been there for many decades. I'm familiar with this room. Just had a couple questions. It looks like a workable plan to begin with. And I think it's important to realize that across the street, where the townhomes and the residential homes are, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in the Drumlins condominiums and townhomes, there's only one unit that's a three-unit home. They're all what I would call old-fashioned, like duplexes. So when you're talking about 3 and 4 and 5 unit buildings, I know originally when the Steve Mancini's area was being proposed,
before Steve, there were units that were being proposed for 4 and 5 units. And it was deemed that, first of all, they didn't sell well, and second of all, they didn't really blend with what's there. So my concern, one of my concerns would be talking about 3 and 4 units across the street would seem really not reasonably similar to what's in our neighborhood. Burlington is all, and Silver Hill Path is all single-family homes. There are 15 single-family homes on Wellington. So I'm a little concerned about the size of what those are, because I know a 3, 4, and 5 unit building is much bigger, especially the 4, there are no 4 and 5s at all. I was wondering why you were limiting only to 8 of the single-family homes across the street, as opposed to maybe having more single-family homes and then perhaps along the back part, having more of your townhome, if that might be something to consider. Another concern that I had was, I know that there's a creek that flows through the Drumlins and under the road and goes over to that property, and depending on the time of the year, it's nothing, but it can be fish. I mean, literally, because of the water that's over there. And I don't really see, I see you have the 2 retention ponds, but that's not where the water is, so that might be something to at least be considering. Another question I had was, and that probably will go into where the planning board is, but as far as like extra overflow parking, I know that's something that's always been a concern, and Steve Mancini ended up putting in extra, which the Village Drumlins already has. These are just a few things, and I appreciate your consideration of those. I was kind of hoping that maybe the decision tonight might not be made yet, because there are over about 230 folks who live across the street there, either in Burlington or Silver Hill Path, or on up Rawson Road between where we are and up to Rawson and Cork, and in the upper Drumlins, who just learned about this today or this morning. So,
But the public hearing for the rezone, they'll get that opportunity. We're just giving them direction to go
oh, you're
proceed
not
with the
going to
application.
make a decision tonight?
Yeah,
I'm
they-
sorry, I
They got nothing
misunderstood.
from us.
I misunderstood.
Well, they got direction for the next meeting.
Okay, I didn't
There'll be a
realize that.
public hearing.
Okay. Well, thank you for your attention, and I appreciate your kind ears.
Made some very good points.
Thank you. We're a really special neighborhood up there, and have been pleased with how things ultimately did work out. It was a long, drawn-out time, but what's there looks lovely, and people are very proud and happy to live here in Victor and would like it to, we've always known something will be there, and it looks like this is getting closer to what certainly would be amenable and complimentary. Thank you.
Are there other public comments?
Susie, anyone?
Hi, Dave Nankin from Chaucer Court, just up the road from you. I'm just curious, is there going to be fill added to this area?
Yes.
Can I ask about how many truckloads?
We haven't calculated, or we haven't gotten that far with the plan yet. This is just a concept right now. We
Okay,
haven't set any elevations to know where the heights are gonna be yet.
okay. Because we've had some fill brought in and put into place, and that went over something like, I believe, a 2 months period of time, and a lot of the fill was dropped on the road, and it was a mess. And there was, I believe, something like 60 truckloads, and that didn't even touch it. And I think that it might be a consideration of the amount of trucking that comes down, especially that hill. Some of those trucks come down that hill, as you mentioned, they can come down 40, 50 miles an hour. And those are heavy trucks, and that should be, considered. And one other thing, I just noticed, if you would please, the Chapel Hill, when it merges with Rawson, and I see there's an entrance also on your property, just directly opposite ours on Chapel. And I'm not sure that would be considered within code. I think there has to be a distance, I don't remember how far of a distance between the two entrances to the properties. And I'm going to tell you one thing. Living up there, snow. It's can be a nightmare when you clear those roads of the property, because you have to have a place to put the snow, and I don't see any place to put snow, to be perfectly honest with you. I live on a road that is a dead end, and I can't even back out of my property because the snow is pushed down to the very end. I have to go turn my, in the wintertime only, back up into my neighbor's driveway across the street to get out. So please be careful, because there is no room there, I can tell you. And thank you for your time.
Go ahead.
Could you just explain what the process is then, from here
They'll
out
come in with a
as far as
formal
the...
application
Okay,
for a request for a rezone for this property. We'll then notice the public through the clerk's office, and that'll, we'll have a town board resolution setting the public hearing date and the intent to be.
okay. And will I know some of the notice for public, that you send out for the public, sometimes it's like 500 feet or 1,000 feet or so many houses. Is it possible for all of us to be notified?
Well, I think, to your point, historically, it's 500 feet, but we ask the clerk's office as well as the planning and building department to use their discretion. So if 1,000 feet, makes it, I'm not going to send someone out with a measuring stick tomorrow.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, this is, somebody who's 1,000 feet, but then somebody who's like 2 doors down, I guess we can always share information, but it would be nice just to let the neighbors know, I think. We're willing to.
So, yes, I would think at the very least, probably maybe a month out before we even doing maybe the set public hearing resolution, or maybe the earliest would be 2 weeks from tonight. And that would just be setting the public hearing.
Okay, just set it. Okay, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Again, any other public comments? Okay, moving to reports of town officials. You have in your report the Happy Tales report from the Humane Society. Next is the Finance Director's report, Parks and Recreation report, traffic report based on citations and other coverage by the Ontario County Sheriff's Department, Victor Fire Department's monthly report as well. And I know I left in your boxes a number of reports, a few that I'm going to go over here in a report to you as well. So on March 11th, and the 133rd Assembly District will be Assemblywoman Marjorie Burns. She'll have a visiting hours here. Again, March the 11th from 10 a.m. to 2. If members of the board or public would like an opportunity to meet the Assemblywoman. In addition, I had provided in your mailboxes Victor Farmington Volunteer Ambulance, the organizational chart. Congratulations to Jared Palmer. The monthly Victor Farmington Ambulance, actually the 2022 call report. And then I do want to mention that, again, we track from a revenue standpoint, mortgage tax. Director of Finance will give us an overview of that twice a year when we do receive that. As we know, certainly the interest rate increase will certainly lead to a significant reduction in refinancing home sales, something that we do track. They were down 40 homes sold in 2022 compared to 2021. But it's interesting, and again, probably no surprise based on the cost of homes. The cost of a house was increased by $60,000, the medium household price point for these homes. In your mailbox as well was there a property tax exemption information from FASNY, and I provided you with Rensselaer County announcement. A number of counties are moving forward with that. And something that, we'll talk about in more detail. Right now, just the town government alone, going by itself would not make it worthwhile. We need another, maybe even the village government to do it. The county's, my understanding, going to take this up within probably the next 2 months for some conversation. And I'm not sure if even this is something that a school district, any school district within the state is considered. I do want to, I did have an opportunity last Saturday to go over to the Parks and Rec Winterfest, and then Brian mentioned it in his report too. Attendance was a little light. It was it was winter chill last Friday and Saturday, or the previous Friday and Saturday, as many of us remember. But it was nice to see our not-for-profit organization as well. And then the 2023 special collection events were in your packet. This is all the recycling for the year. Susie is going to put those on the website for our residents as well. And we had a couple letters from Sue Stelling, letter to the board, and certainly a letter to the Boughton Park commissioners. And we thank Sue for her service to the town. Board members, a couple saved the dates. Anticipate that on March 13th, there'll be a sewer master plan presentation here, and then May 8th, Eastview Mall zoning and height change presentation. Lobella will be presenting both of those. So I know there was a number of items, but a lot of activity going on. Moving to the board members, you care to report on any committees that any of you are serving?
One thing, Supervisor Marin, I was going to just mention on the collection for waste. Susie did a nice job sending this out quite a while ago, and a lot of people don't take advantage of it, but latex paint, oil-based paints, take them right down to Headlocks. They take them 24/7. I mean, if the store's open, you got that can that's got half full of latex that's been sitting in the basement for the last 3 or 4 years, you want to get rid of it. I took down probably 25 gallons today of various paints. As long as they're still liquid, they'll take them. If they're hard, obviously, if it's a latex that's hardened, you can take it to landfill. But if it's still in liquid form, Headlocks has to take it. They're part of the paint recycling, I guess, is what you call it.
I'm just curious, after you dropped those 25 cans, did they put up a sign that we're no longer taking?
No, they take whatever you want. Take whatever you want.
Thank you for sharing that.
Well, spring cleaning on a nice day, right?
Okay.
Karen, I believe, Karen, I appreciate the Humane Society. I believe you had reached out about that report. So thank you for having that put in there. I thought it was kind of interesting to see that data, and a lot more dog bites than you think every month. Amazing. But yeah, it is interesting to see kind of how those funds are allocated and what they're doing down there. It was interesting reading.
Okay, moving to resolutions in the business section. Resolution, if you are following this evening's agenda, resolution number 33 has been pulled. Anticipate possibly taking that up at the next meeting on the 27th of this month. So again, that's resolution number 33. Okay, starting with under the Finance Department, budget transfers, and at your place setting, there was a updated one provided by the Director of Finance for budget transfers related.
Moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution 1 is passed. Number 2, amending the resolution for the Lane Road Sidewalk Project. And taking into consideration additional concrete needed for the additional curbing along the entranceway to Victor Central Schools. Questions?
Second.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Drew and
Oh, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, this is regarding the red truck painting for the painting here at Town Hall. Amending the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 4, amending resolution number 8, increase investment. This was, you'll recall there was an email sent out by Rich back on the 27th of January, providing information to the and rationale for increasing these limits.
So moved.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, number 5, under the Highway Department, this is to amend resolution number 36021 for the second time. And again, this is the purchase of a truck that unfortunately by the time you order it, get it, cancellations, changing type of trucks, at the end of the day, it's costing us more money. And that's what this one is all about. Difference of $3,800 in the truck we're actually going to end up purchasing.
So moved.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Number 5 is passed. Moving to 6. Again, this is the purchase of a 2023 John Deere. And at this time, we are also, a 2008 New Holland mower will be declared as surplus. Questions, board members?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 7, Alamo 24-inch Maverick 2 boom, and again, we entertain a 2019 Diamond 75 side mount mower will be declared as surplus.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 8, 2023 Milton Cat, and this is again on the off New York State bid. Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Number 9, 2024 International, off the piggyback from the Onondaga County bid. We have a dump truck that'll be surplus of 2019.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 10, purchase of a Silverado 2023, $1,500 for the Highway Department, declaring a 2018 F-150 as surplus.
Chevy, huh? Just saying. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You know, our highway department does a wonderful job keeping these vehicles clean, and when we do declare something for surplus, the rate of return is pretty favorable here for the town. Number 11, and the young lady is with us, sitting in the back of the room under the map. Appoint Janine to the Board of Assessment Review, and appoint Karen Polidori as Chair of the Board of Assessment Review. I do want to thank Rebecca Melton for her 8 years of service, hard work, and dedication to our community and to the residents of Victor. Rebecca is a former chair of this Board of Assessment Review.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome.
But thanks.
Janine, just for the full, Janine used to work in the motor vehicle department. She's not your typical motor vehicle person, okay? Now she works upstairs in real properties and stuff like that. Not that the people in motor vehicle are bad, okay? Number 12, acceptance of the resignation of Sarah Mitchell from the Zoning Board of Appeals.
So moved.
Second.
And we just want to thank Sarah for all her hard work and dedication to the town as well. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And with us as well, and she introduced herself earlier during the public hearing, Leah, and she is going to be serving, appointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and her term would be from tomorrow, 2023, to December 31st, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Welcome. Thank you for your service. And sitting directly behind you is the newest ZBA member, Alexis Ogra, who just, we appointed her last month. She's already come in with her first no vote, so she's... Okay, number 14, the appointment, or actually amending the resolutions from 2021 to appoint the county health director. I had spoken to the county attorney, and she agreed with us, but unfortunately, the state of New York didn't, that what we had done previously, we just used the title Director of Public Health, or the Public Health Officer, and in this point is the Director of Public Health for Ontario County. Because we didn't specifically identify her name, Mary Beer, so that's why we're amending it, but we are also going to add Kate Ott, who's our Deputy Director of Community Public Health, for reasons, health reasons, if Mary Beer, if there was anything wrong with her. So that's been something that many of the municipalities around the county have been doing, so.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Karen, good luck keeping track there. I know. Number 15 is amending resolutions, number 15 of 2023, designation of full-time employees, and unfortunately, we admitted 2 employees, one being the Parks and Recreation Typist 1, and the last one, Economic Development Typist 1 as well, so hence the reason for the amendment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 16, EAP agreement. This comes out of Human Resources. Oops, excuse me. And again, this is a contract for this calendar year.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Parks and Recreation, resolution number 17.
Yeah, before we start, can I make a motion to block 17 through 24 and a half?
Okay, so for the public,
Which would be, yeah, all of those agreements that Brian's making with outside contractors for various programs.
very good. Any objection to blocking resolution 17 through 24
No.
and a half? Okay. And again, as Councilman Kohovic mentioned, a lot of these are all standards. These are annual contracts with vendors. All those in favor signify by...
Second.
Oh,
Bruce seconded it.
you gotta be quicker with that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Number 25, this is the request for certificate of liability insurance, and the same vendors identified in these previous 9, I think, resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Moving to number 26, a highway project. Award the bid for the Willis Hill intersection improvement, and I will say, Mark, I thought the bids overall, maybe in the first 3, were pretty competitive bids for the number of responders from what they bid on, so I guess better than what we've had in other projects where there's a wide range. I mean, there's a significant difference between the CP Ward and Ramsey, and actually Ramsey is they just bid on some county projects, so. Okay, there's no questions for a highway superintendent.
So moved.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Number 26 is passed. Moving to number 27. This is create a cannabis retail dispensary overlay. And again, as we've discussed before, if someone is provided or issued a license by the state government, then hopefully an opportunity for revenue that would be identified and put forth towards public safety in the town, more additional road patrol, more solar signs, partnership with the library, opportunity for, I would like to see to the point where we're 24/7 with one officer throughout the town, because we are a community of opportunity for break-ins. I get it, I hear it all the time from distressed residents that have had their homes broken into, so. It's a roll call vote, so first of all, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, and roll call by our town clerk.
Supervisor Marin,
Yes.
Councilman Condon,
Yes.
Councilman Guinan,
Yes.
Councilman Kohovic,
Yes.
Councilman Kusimano.
Yes.
Okay, number 28. This is authorization to petition the state of New York regarding the for speed reduction on Route 444. I did have a site visit with a couple homeowners there, and then a conversation with the homeowners association. There is a letter from the homeowners association. I know they're pretty aggressive. I have spoke to them once. I have to get back to them again. That I think they're being. In theory, it's great to ask it to be reduced from 55 to 25, but we know we have been not too successful with the state of New York, and this is a state road as well, so I think we'd be fortunate if they reduce it by 5 miles an hour, so. No question, entertain a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 29, Southgate 2, this is a grading and release number 3 for Southgate.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 30, letter of credit, Willis Hill Estate Phase 2, release number 4.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 31, Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Surety, release number 2. This is the final one. With this release comes a requirement that the developer provide a 2-year maintenance, and they have submitted that as well.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 32, Victor Chrysler Dodge dedication and maintenance bond for the town.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And again, number 33, Victor Square expansion has been pulled, possibly entertained at the next meeting. Okay, public comments. Susie, anyone on? Okay, well, as the members of the public care to address the town board? Okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting then.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.